All right, it's Michael Brown, Solar Ray, coming to you pre-Thanksgiving. But in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we're going to run through now, which is the week of Thanksgiving and before. So just as soon as you see this, it's viable all the way through the new year. We're going to offer a special, and we're also going to pressure our competitors. Please, if you are not choosing to use us, or we are not the preference of your service provider or provider to install your solar system, make sure that you get the same kind of deal and quality from the provider and the installer that you are choosing. Okay, so all the viable solar installers right now are booked through the new year. There's no doubt, okay? So the only way that you're going to find somebody, or if you can find somebody that has space before Christmas or before the new year, sorry, to get you installed, you probably should pass that company up, because either they're throwing them in as fast as they can with no skilled labor and just throwing parts on your roof, or their customer service and their historical installation quality and their customer service historically and on the record is probably garbage. Everybody that does a good job is booked through the beginning of the year. Now, what does that make a difference? It makes a difference because there's a 30% tax credit that goes away. It doesn't go away. It gets reduced to 26% for 2020, and then it gets reduced again, and then it goes away. But for this year, the 30% tax credit is only good for 30% until the end of the year. Be cautious. There's advertisements out there right now that say buy now to get the 30% tax credit. The definition of the tax credit says that the system must be in service. So by definition and in service would at the very least require it to have passed its building inspections. So not only have you obtained a contract this year, but it would also have to be permitted, installed, and inspected. There is a possibility that if someone was to really put a magnifying glass to it, that they might even say that it would have to actually have its interconnection agreement and be producing, not just viable to produce and not just legally installed and viable. But that's some gray area. But at the very least, in order to qualify for the tax credit, it has to be in service. That's the definition from the IRS, and there's in the instructions, that's the definition. Also, that does not include equipment that is not essential for the install, and by definition, in the instructions for the tax credit, it only includes roofing material, which would be cladding and roof coverings if they generate electricity from sunlight. So companies that are telling you that you can include your re-roof and all these other things, they're completely wrong. And if you were to be audited, you would be on the hook for whatever, including penalties for submitting a fraudulent number. So be very careful about people and what they're proposing to you and what they're claiming. Refer to the IRS, refer to your, the person that does your books and stuff before you go with that. Your accountant is the last line of defense if that's who you have doing your taxes. If you have a tax professional doing your taxes, refer to that. If you do your own taxes, go to the tax code. You can look that form up. I don't have it right on me right now. It's a very simple, it's a one sheet in the instructions, the very last paragraph or section regards to qualified equipment. So it's very simple and it's very straightforward. Don't just believe what you're being told in order to sign up for a system. Because we know that some people, a lot of people, have put off making this decision to the last quarter this year, so that then they're thinking, I'm going to capitalize on that 30%. And I don't want to lose the 4%, the difference between the tax credit next year versus the tax credit this year. So in light of how busy we are and how busy we know historically towards the end of the year, everybody does that. They jump on so that they can qualify for the tax credit next year. And because we know how busy we are, and we're not the only fish in the sea, so we know that the other viable quality contractors are also busy and in the same boat as far as still being able to offer and provide a quality installation that is permitted and passed and in service before the end of the year, that's just not happening. So what we're doing is, if you purchase a system from now until the new year, if you sign a contract with us and get your system installed through SolarAy, we are going to compensate you after we're funded, if it's financed or whatever, after we're funded, we're going to compensate you for the difference, that 4%. Okay, so the tax credit this year is 30%, next year is 26%. The difference being 4%. If you sign with SolarAy before the end of the year, we are going to compensate you that extra 4%, okay? So that you don't lose out on your 4% of the possible tax credit. And we're not saying we're exclusive with this. I think we're exclusive right now. I don't want to be exclusive with this. Pressure, if you have another provider that you want, or you have another company that you have, if you've already signed a contract and you realize now that you know what the actual rules of the IRS are, or you go and look it up yourself, or you refer to your accountant and they tell you just what I've told you, and you learn that it's not going to be okay just because you signed a contract, just because you put money down this year, put them to the same standard that we're giving you. And that is, if you sign a contract with SolarAy before the end of the year, we're going to compensate you for that difference, that 4% difference. So I don't think that we are the only company that will do that. I think that we're the only company doing that right now. I hope that if you have already chosen another provider and you're not going to be able to be in service before the end of the year, and or you, for whatever reason, crazy, that you don't want SolarAy and you choose somebody else, put them to the same test, okay? We can't do every solar installation, okay? And, I think that that's horrible to try and monopolize on everything and get everything anyways. So I'm not that greedy. But I do think that customer service and extending that courtesy to people that, unbeknownst to them and contrary to the majority of the advertising and marketing out there that's telling them buy now so you can get your 30% tax credit, and the reality is you can buy now but you're not going to be installed until next year, so it's not going to be viable or in service till next year, and therefore you're not going to get your 30% tax credit. In light of that, we want to offer that to our customers, and we hope that the other contractors in the area, the reputable and good contractors in the area, will do the same. Michael Brown, happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to Christmas. Many more and better things to come from SolarAy and renewable energy. Have a great weekend.